watch Rodriguez teasing Brittany to crawl toward the remote control, then giving her a reward, 2 spanks on the diaper.
Unbelievable. Who is watching your kids, and to what lengths might you go just to protect them? We're going to ask concerned dad Joe and his wife Donna Cumella of Long Island, New York in just a minute. But first of all, Maurice, I know that you wanted to jump in here. You were getting into quite a debate with the Nanny Association over here.
Well, I think one of the problems is a lot of the people I'm seeing, they're not really nannies. I mean, I think a nanny is a profession. It's not a pastime. And one of the things that I'm seeing is, you know, a lot of times somebody wants a nanny, and you know they'll say, well, I want a nanny. I want her to be, you know, college educated. I want her to, you know, have early childhood education. And you say, well, what salary are we talking about? Well, we'll say, well, we want to pay. We can only pay $200 a week, and we want her to work 6 days. Now, I work a 12-hour day, so she has to work 13, 14 hours.
That's right.
And, you know,
so you're agreeing over here. It's tough being a nanny. Come on, you want to talk to me? What are you saying over here?
Well, you know, one of the things that parents are not asking, everybody asks, do you love children? You know,
Right,
pedophiles love children. A lot of evil people love children.
Right.
What we need to ask of the candidate is, what are you going to do for my child developmentally? Intellectually, socially, emotionally, and physically. And that's going to stop up a lot of people
and also
who have no information on this kind of subject. And we need to reconnect with our children. All of these parents are seeing signs, but yet they're clueless.
They're clueless.
The minute you are pregnant, you've got to begin to search. If you're planning on handing your children over to somebody off the street or trained, I know not everyone can afford a trained nanny, but there are many inquiries you can make into this person to find out what she's going to do intellectually for your child. And those other 3 points I named. Nobody seems to be asking that question of these nannies. And, you know, we're invited to live in your home. Do you know how many times I've had to change my shirt after the throw up and the paint and everything, and I have a bathroom down the hall, and Mr. Peeping Tom has his camera on me, and I can't turn it off? I'm like peeking around the door in my underwear to get to the laundry room so I can get my other shirt on. I mean, I cannot control that camera when I'm off duty. And if I'm doing a 15-hour stretch or perhaps a 3-day weekend and that camera's on me, when I'm taking a break, you know what? I do take a power nap that is advised by many brokers on Wall Street, and I advise it for many people.
You're comparing being a nanny to a Wall Street broker.
But no, I mean,
but I like the point that you're making. Art, how do you answer that? Because there are intimate moments. You might go to the bathroom. You may change your clothes.
In regards to the cameras, unfortunately, we're a service where we provide the utensils, and now it's up to the responsibility of the parents. That's our drawback. We usually try and set it up so that it's in a public room, it's in a living room, it's in a kitchen, it's in a public room. No bathrooms, no bedrooms. We won't do that. Unfortunately, we're not the parents. But one of the points I'd like to mention from before was what we do is the first time a nanny comes in, we have them the first day and the second day, the first 2 days of work. This way, if they do make a mistake where they are feeding the child upside down because they just don't know any better, then at least you can speak with them and let them understand how they should do it. And then we come back a few months later. And the one thing I tell every single parent, if you get a nanny that's doing a great job, double a salary. That's what I tell everybody the same thing. They think I'm kidding. I'm not kidding.
You agree with that? I want you guys to meet Joe and Donna. Joe, you actually hid in the basement. For how long?
2 days.
For 2 days. What made you decide to do that, first of all?
Well, we recorded our nanny, and the first day she had placed an object in front of the camera, a Snow White video. So we saw Snow White like this for about 8 hours.
Right.
But we heard things that disturbed us. We were very, very, very concerned, to the point where we knew we were going to fire her.
You heard things like what?
Forcing our children to eat, a smack, and my daughter crying.
Right.
How old are your children?
At the time,
My daughter at the time was 13 months and my son was 3.5. And in response to your statement as far as doing in-depth questioning, I did. I didn't go back to work until my son was 3.5, particularly because I wanted to be able to communicate with him so that if there was any signs, he could tell me. I am very attuned to my children and what they say and how they feel and how they project their feelings. And I stay with them. Every night I lay down with my son for 10 minutes and he regurgitates everything that has gone on through the day. And I didn't like what he was saying. And as far as interviewing her, I gave her the 3rd degree. I knew her from camp, that it was a private camp and private school that she was affiliated with, who did all these background checks. When she came into my home, I told her what I expected as far as activities. I mocked up a daily schedule. I told her right out that my children are to be disciplined with timeouts. Under no circumstances shall any physical hitting going on with my children.
Did the videotape pick that up?
Oh, yes,
They
it
picked the audio up. We didn't have a case of that
drastic.
abuse.
We did not. We did not.
But it was just enough that made you concerned.
I went to the
absolutely.
police station. They told me, you see anything, you call us. We will send the squad car down and arrest them.
What type of action did you take? I mean, when you saw that nanny the next time after you'd heard this on the videotape, what was the first thing
I
that you
tried
did?
the best I could to act as, good morning, how are you, blah, blah, blah. I'm late for work. I drove around the block, parked, came back, snuck in the basement, and thank
There was
God.
Right, and thank God that the children were not physically abused to the extent where I probably would have, myself probably did physical harm to her because I was so outraged. These are my children.
Did you notice a change in the children's behavior, the way that
My
they...
son would, who is
Very outgoing.
very outgoing. How was your day? Nothing.
What do you mean?
What did you
nothing?
do? Nothing.
And this
This
child
is a kid that
right,
it was all over everything.
right, right.
And
Yeah,
oh yes,
exactly. That's
what
exactly
clued us
what
in.
clued us in.
Something is wrong.
changing
But you
the
don't
child.
just have to see what you showed us. I mean, the neglect of just putting a child in front of a TV for 8-10 hours and reading the paper. And being
Let's
on the
talk.
phone.
Let's
That's
talk a bit more about
damaging.
that. I got to take a quick break, and let's talk about that when we come back. What would you do if you never spanked your child, but you came home to her being spanking, or her spanking her own doll? That's quite a difference in a child's behavior. We're going to find out from our next working mom right after this. What do you do? What do you do? And Tyler, I like the point that you brought up.